Hey everybody, it's Nick here for Grayscale Gorilla. I am the Gorilla, and today I'm going to do an After Effects tutorial based on a look I call the JibJab look, and it's basically using people's bodies and tracking a photo of somebody's face on top of it. If you haven't seen this, check it out. Let's just head to their site. Every time around the holidays, they have this Elf Yourself kind of creator where you can upload a photo of yourself, and then you can cut your head out, and basically they slap your head on animated or on real people's bodies. You can see what's going on here. Pretty awesome, right? I'm hip-hop dancing like an elf. It sweeps the nation every time holidays come around, and I get a lot of people asking how to do this look. So you can watch that. I'll make sure to link to my hip-hop video so you can watch it. I also used it in a recent video I made for my dad's retirement party. My mom was nice enough to send me a bunch of his clothes. I wore his clothes, and then I tracked my dad's head on top of it. And as you could see, I got him doing some pretty funny stuff. So, as you know, this is the effect kind of going for. Let's head over to After Effects and see how we could set something like that up. In fact, this is the exact scene for that ski section. I'm just going to hit render real quick. And, oh, I got some slow render settings on, so I may switch that. But for now, you can see what I shot. This is just with a flip cam, a little $200 flip cam HD. You could do this SD as well. But the trick is to get kind of a flat lighting. And if you perform something, you really want to film it and look at the camera pretty consistently. You don't want to make too many crazy faces or anything, because really, not only is it going to get covered up, but we're going to track this footage. And the more normal and the more still your face is, the easier it is to track. So keep that in mind. If you want to dance around and slap somebody else's head on it, just be really still. And truthfully, I should have put tracking marks on my face. A big X or a big cross in the middle of my forehead would have done wonders to help stabilize and track this shot. So let's just track it. I'll show you how I track this and then brought my dad's face in to replace mine. So we have the video here. I'm going to right click on the video, and down here you're going to see track motion. I'm going to click that, and it's going to take me into the tracker. Okay. From here, I'm just going to zoom in, kind of move around. You get this track point, and if let's just go over the tracker and explain what it does. The tracker has kind of three main functions, or three main features. It has the anchor point, which is this X. It has the pixels to look, the pixels to track box, which is this middle box. And then this outside box can get tricky, but basically this outside box tells the software, tells After Effects where to look for these pixels in the next frame. So if something's moving quickly across the screen, you may want to make this box bigger, because these pixels that the program is looking for is going to jump all way around the camera, or if it's really shaky. In this case, I'm not moving very far. I'm just going to kind of scrub through the footage. And yes, I do move far that way, but frame by frame is what this box looks at. It says, in the next frame, how much farther will I be away? So for example, when we're down here, the tracker is hopefully going to track my eye. And then if I go one more frame into the future, you could see my eye really doesn't move that far. At the height of my speed of my head, it's not going too far. So this outside box is basically is all about how long this tracker takes to render, because if you can make this secondary box smaller, your tracking will go faster. But if your object is moving further around, then the tracker has to look in has to look at more pixels. Basically, the more pixels the tracker looks at, the longer your track will take. Wow, that took a lot of words. But anyway, I'm just trying to describe what these tools do, because sometimes it could be kind of a mystery. So in this case, my eye is going to work really well as a tracker, mainly because it's really contrasty. There's got a little black dot there, and you got some kind of flesh around it. It's got a nice shape. The thing with tracking is you really need something with some contrast. To track this won't work. There's not enough variation or contrast. And also to track this really won't work either, because this looks really similar to this, looks really similar to this, to the tracker. So you really want a really kind of specific shape and a really specific and a lot of contrast basically. So there we go. I'm going to make this a little smaller because it's not really going to go too far. And in fact, I already moved my timeline. I got to go back to the beginning because that's where I want to start the track. So let's just go back, move the tracker up, and I'm just going to center it right on my eye. Now, here's the cool part about the tracker. Now, if I just hit play from here, it'd probably track my eye pretty good. But not only do I want to track the position of my head, but I also want to track the rotation. So as I kind of rotate my head back and forth right there, a little bit, right there, I also want to track the rotation so that when I slap the head on top of it, it's also going to rotate with my head. So let me show you how to do that. Up here in the tracking section, this window pops up automatically. You're going to see this rotation checkbox. And when I click it, I'm going to get a second track point. And what this allows me to do is basically select a secondary track point to track that will then track the rotation. So in this case, I'm going to pick my nose. Oh boy. So I'm going to go in here and just kind of focus it in. And the nose is also a pretty good place to get some contrast. It's a really specific shape. Got it on the nostrils there. And you just want to make sure you have enough to make contrast. Again, this is something, if I would have thought more about it, I didn't really know I was going to do this trick until I got this footage in. So if I knew I was going to do this look, I would have put not only a tracking mark on my forehead, but maybe one on my chin. And we did this with a few. If you look on my portfolio at the screen vision, it's under screen vision. Let's just take a detour. Sorry guys, we're just going to detour over to my site, creamyorange.com. And I wanted to show you the screen vision disco holiday. And you're going to see these guys, kind of these giant heads tracked to bodies. So it's kind of a similar technique, right? But what we did is we danced around in the costumes, and the actors had X's on their foreheads and their chins, so that every time they rotated their head around, you know, they could dance and sing. And then all we had to do is track these heads on top of it. Anyway, so just to give you an idea of how elaborate you can make this look, check this out. I'll try to remember to link this up in here. Okay, so let's head back. Where were we? That's me. That's my dad. Oh, we're in After Effects. Hey, let's head on back. So sorry about the detour there. So we got our tracking points ready to go. Let's just go ahead and track, man. Stop talking and let's just do it. So right here we have our play button. And really we're just going to hit play and see how it goes. See how far this puppy goes. And just kind of keep an eye on it. You can see right there it totally screwed up, right? But it did okay. It's a little jittery. And, you know, sometimes you could blur it and fix these things. You can see it's just a little jittery. Not too bad. But basically all this stuff looks pretty good. And it's almost never going to do it perfectly every time. So right now I'm using the page down and page up keys to kind of scrub through and to find the point when it screwed up. And it's right there. See, it got too blurry. The motion blur got too much and the tracker got confused. So in this case, I'm just going to help it out. I'm going to say there's my eyeball, there's my eyeball. I'm going to go up again. And I don't want to move the tracking point. I just want to move this whole box back up to my eyeball. And if it's blurry, you want to go in the middle of the blur, because that's going to be the kind of median point. And there's my nose, my blurry nose. I'm going to go back up to that. And one more. We just need to get past the blurry part. And sometimes it's just you're going to have to be tedious with it. It's just part of tracking. Like I say, this may have worked better with tracking marks. It also may have worked better with a higher shutter speed. If I didn't film on this little, just kind of cheap little HD camera, the little flip camera, I may have had the ability to adjust the, let me make sure, I may have had the ability to adjust the shutter speed, and in that case I would have been way better off. Okay, so here we back are. Let's just see if we can move forward from here. That looks good. I'm just going to pause it. That looks good. That looks good. And that's pretty much the end of the clip. I'm way past our point here. So you could see what I did is I kind of helped it along, and then when I got to a point where it got less blurry, somewhere around here, I just go ahead and hit play again, and it's going to start again from that point. So what we have here is we have all this fun tracking data here across my face. It's tracking my nose, and we need to get this off of the tracker and onto a null so that we can attach things to the null. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to have a new null object, and in our tracker settings there's going to be a button that says edit target, and when you click on this edit target, it's going to say null 2. You want to apply all this data to the null 2. This is our new null up here. And when I click apply, it's going to ask me, do I want just X or just Y or X and Y? If almost all the time you're going to want X and Y, unless you're only worried about the up and down or left and right motion. In this case, we're going to go X and Y, and you're going to see now After Effects made us a null with the position and rotation, and it got the rotation based on the angle between my nose and my eye. So if we look at, I'm going to change the color of the null here to something kind of brighter. So if you look at the null, I'm just going to see if we can get the keyframes out of there. So check this out. This null is following, it's tracked onto my eyeball and rotates around my nose. You can see right there it's kind of rotating. It's not a big deal that it's crooked, right? Because all I'm going to do is parent my image, my photo to this. So all I have to do is position it once and it's going to follow. So let me show you how to do that. We'll start back at the beginning. And right here I have this Photoshop document where I took a photo of my dad and just cut his head out with his hat. And this is his fireman photo here. And if I just scale it down and position it, you can see I could start to get it where I want it. This effect works pretty well with a big head look, which is nice. So you can kind of do you can do a way oversized head if you want to. That gets kind of funny. But it's also a blessing because these big head, we don't have to roto out my face or anything. We just stick it right on top. And there he is. There's my dad. And then while he's in position, he looks pretty good. You want to make sure that kind of your chin is covered up and everything. So right around here. Right when he's looking good and he sits on the body, it kind of looks normal. Go ahead and parent the head to the null by using this little pick whip here if you haven't parented. Select the layer you want to parent and then just pick whip it to the null, and then that makes the null the parent, and it makes the head a child. And what that means is wherever this null goes, the head will follow. So let's just render that real quick, and you will see it in motion. Let's see how it looks. It's a little shaky up front. That's not too bad. Now there's a weird, see that little pop right there? Right there. It's just he's kind of got a wiggly kind of pop right there. And we can go back into the tracker if we wanted to and fix that. If we found out where that was, oh, we're way past. Hold on. If we found out where that was, we can come in here and fix it. And you would just find the bad keyframe. Let's see where it is. Right, it's right there. So it's right around the 1.5 second mark. So now we can go back into our footage, and we're actually already there. It's already timed it kind of perfectly. And it's basically a rotation issue with our null. So let's see if we could fix this. Kind of centered on the nose there. We're just going to reposition that one keyframe, And then we just apply that back to the null, and I think everything should be fine. It may not have done it, but you basically still on the fly can go back and fix things. Let's see if it fixed it. It's still kind of a little hiccup there. But the good part is you can use that tracker to go back into and then reapply it to the null, and everything else will just kind of stick to it. So that's the basics. Now you can add a drop shadow to the head and just have that kind of sit on the neck. But really, it doesn't take much to get a good laugh out of this effect. So if you want to make your friend or father do something crazy, go ahead and cut a photo out of their face. Photograph yourself doing some crazy stuff. Track their do track marks next time. Just a big X with like a circle or something will give the tracker something really, really contrasty and solid to follow. So go ahead and do that. If you happen to do this for a friend or a family member, please email me. We all like to see this stuff. And also check out my dad's retirement video. I'll post everything in here. So that's it. That's the JibJab effect. Hope it helps you if you ever want to try it. And if you have an effect or a technique that you want to learn, please let me know. Drop it in the comments, and hopefully do more tutorials. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.